everybody, welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United lose 1-0 to Brighton. Absolutely horrible way for us to lose it. I'm really gutted about that. I think that ultimately you've got to look at it and say that in some ways you get what you deserve. It was a disgusting performance from Manchester United in the second half, especially as an attacking side. It just wasn't good enough. And I think that, look, for me, two things I would say is that, look, it's definitely a handball. I can't argue with that. But what I can argue with is two things. One, Luke Shaw is 100% my man of the match. Handballing it in the last minute after a flawless performance, that doesn't detract. It's not his fault that the attack was fucking cowardly in the second half. I mean, that attack in the second half for United was dreadful. I thought in the first half we didn't create chances. We didn't do enough with the chances. But second half, it was like the invisible men up front. It was a dreadful performance where the defence played very, very well throughout the game. And ultimately, they've been breached at the very, very end, which can happen. But what I would say as well is Andre Mariner is still an awful referee. Ultimately, the reason we're under pressure is because he gives a foul and a yellow card against Luke Shaw that was never a foul and never a yellow card. So, you can look at that. But ultimately, I'm not here to moan about refereeing decisions. He's not a very good referee. I think that always happens. But I think that it's just a shockingly bad performance as an attacking team in the second half. If you're going to beat Brighton or you're going to get something against Brighton, it has to be a 90-minute performance. And time again this season, we don't put in 90-minute performances. I think the defence are very unlucky, but I think as an attack, you've got nowhere to go. If Brighton score, you've got nowhere to go. Look, the penalty in the last minute's unlucky, but think about it like this. Imagine if one of Brighton's shots deflected off Dalot's knee and went in the top corner. What would we do to come back from that with 20 minutes to go or 10 minutes to go? I really think we've been unlucky not to get the point, and I think the defence deserved the point. But at the end of the day, and I said it during the game, if they score first, I think it's over. And I know there was no time to respond, but I don't think we showed any evidence that we would have responded. It was a really flat performance in the attack, even in the first half. First chance of the game, Bruno plays Anthony through. He's got to put it on target. He puts it wide. Rashford on the left-hand side shoots front post instead of across the goal. Martial has a chance, shoots front post instead of across the goal. And that was it, really. A few half chances, but nothing really easy. And we had chances where we could have played people in for better chances. The attack today was poor. And ultimately, if we concede a goal, the game's going to get lost. It is unfortunate that it's a penalty at the end. It's really unlucky for Luke because I think he is my man of the match. I thought David De Gea made a really good couple of saves as well throughout the game. The Matoma chance and obviously the one where he put it around the post through the crowd. But it is a penalty. Brighton have scored a legitimate goal. We've just not scored ourselves, and that's it. And at this level, you've got to do a lot better than that. My big issue is, let me just read this. At the start of the season, we heard lots from Erik ten Hag about changing mentality in the squad. What would you like to hear he's doing about it now? He's got to wait till the summer, Andy. Mark, we were cowards in the second half, but God forbid, Andre Mariner cannot give that as a foul. Shaw made no contact. Sad to lose, says KB. I'm just going to say that Rashford is a stat boy like Ronaldo. 400k a week, no thank you. I'd rather sell him now while we can, says Charlie. Defensively, we were good. We are too cluttered in attack, says Hovis. I'm tired of just watching United defending in the second half every game, says Jeremy. I agree, Andre Mariner is an awful referee. If he was a good one, Anthony and Casemiro would have been off, says Pies. There's a few people talking about Rashford. Obviously, we'll talk about that. Absolute God says, are you worried about top four? We'll talk about that in a minute as well. So top four, Rashford. Okay. The big thing for me is, people were saying, why aren't we making any subs? He made 3 substitutions. 2 of them made us worse. When Anthony came off, I think he was, all right, it might have been a red card risk, but Sancho didn't offer anything down the right-hand side. Because Sabitzer was better than Fred. Weghorst was like having 10 men. You can moan about Martial's performance, and I don't think it was fantastic, but Weghorst was like bringing me on. It was a waste of time. When he brought him on with 7 minutes to go, I was like, why? It's purely, he's just not good enough. He's just not good enough. And our substitutions consistently over the last few weeks make us worse. And the problem Ten Hag's got is he looks at his attack for 80 minutes and go, they've not been good enough. I've got to change it. He brings Weghorst and Sancho on and it gets worse. And that's the problem he's got. Rashford wasn't good enough. Martial wasn't good enough. And Anthony was a red card waiting to happen. He has to make changes. The changes he makes consistently make us worse. He doesn't have the squad. This is why we need a full sale. This is why we need a lot of money spending. Because that squad ain't good enough. And Ten Hag knows it. And I know it. And you know it. Quality, mentality, however you want to call it, that squad isn't good enough. And ultimately, I think Weghorst came on. We weren't good anyway, but Weghorst comes on and it's defence against attack for 5 minutes. And we couldn't hold on. We were just inviting the pressure second half. I thought the defence did fantastically well. De Gea had a good game. Wan-Bissaka had a good game. Lindelof had a good game. I thought Shaw was brilliant. Dalot had a good game. Beyond those five, we'll talk about in a minute. But it was defence against attack in the second half because we just stopped being an attacking team in the second half. And that's not acceptable. And ultimately, you get what you deserve. All of a sudden, I'm hearing thousands of Scousers celebrating Luke Shaw's outstretched arm. The top four battle is starting to get sweaty and not in a good way, says Tim. Honestly, the first loss I put on Erik Ten Hag feels like came to draw instead of win it, says Gerg. No, I mean, Stubby says, let's blame Erik Ten Hag. He's been outclassed again by a mid-team coach. We can't keep on blaming the attackers. I think that's highly offensive, mate. Mid-team, we've been outclassed by a mid-team. Brighton are one of the best teams in the league. They're one of the best teams in the league. They're not a mid-team. They're a fantastic team that if they hadn't been cheated by VAR themselves, would probably be pushing us for top four. They should have another 6 points. They were robbed of a goal at Palace that was onside. They were robbed against Spurs. They should have at least another 6 points, Brighton. So they're not a mid-team. They're a very, very good team. And I don't blame... I mean, look at the celebrations at Brighton. It's like they've won the FA Cup. All after the game, they've done a lap of honour. It's not their last home game of the season. They're in the dressing room cheering and clapping. They beat United 1-0 with a penalty, and they're acting like they've won the World Cup. So it just shows you what a big result it is to Brighton. But ultimately, I don't blame Ten Hag because the attack has let him down, and he hasn't got anybody else. He's got. People are going, why didn't you make the subs? Why didn't you make the subs? Because they're shit. Basically, they're not good enough. I would not have brought Weghorst on. I'd have told Martial, keep running around. What's the point? The bench is shit in the areas that he needs to make changes. We were terrible before the subs. These players in attack are not good enough, says Alan. Same happened against Spurs, but other way around. Our away record, by the way, now is absolutely shocking. In fact, just before we do the player ratings, I just want to show you this because it might be a bit depressing, but the truth is the truth. And I think we just need to go through this and see it for what it is. So let me just put that there for you. So look, it kills two birds with one stone. In relation to the top four race, Pellistri makes a difference, says Scythe. Well, he doesn't use him. That's the league table as it stands. Before we talk about top four, let me tell you this. Away record this season for Man United. Man City lost. Arsenal lost. Newcastle lost. Liverpool lost. Brighton lost. Tottenham drew. Villa lost. Brighton lost. The top 9, we've lost 7 and drawn 1. The top 10, we've won 1, we've drawn 1, and we've lost 7. It's absolutely ridiculous. Our away record this season is shite. And you're right, you can't play for 45 minutes as a team away from home. And that's what we've done today. The defence has played very well. The attack has let us down. Last week, same thing happened again. You've got to play away from home as a team, and we don't have the mentality to do it. We've seen it against Liverpool, where we've downed tools. We saw it against Arsenal, where we weren't switched on in the last 10 minutes. We've seen it at Brentford, where we downed tools. We've seen it at Man City, where we downed tools. We've seen it at Newcastle, where we downed tools. We've seen it at Spurs, where we're 2-0 up and we down tools. We've seen it against Brighton, where the defence are hanging on because the attack has down tools. You cannot play away from home with half a team. You have to play with a full team because you're up against the team that's at home with the crowd. Our away form is a disgrace this season, an absolute disgrace. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that's causing the problem, but there's a few players there in that attack. I said it about Rashford. Fantastic player. I really like him. But you get the sense if he doesn't score a goal, he doesn't have a good game. And he had a bad game today. Decision making was poor. Shooting was poor. There was greed. Wasn't getting his head up. I mean, look, would I give him a new contract? Yes, I would. Would I be giving him 400k? Get out. Would I give him 300k? Probably not. But they will. What does Marcus Rashford offer Man United? Goals. What does he offer Man United if he doesn't score? He needs to offer more when he doesn't score. In a game like that, it's very easy to keep him quiet because he's trying to score. You've got to mix it up, Marcus. Anthony, you've got to mix it up. You've got to mix it up because that attack was dreadful today. And when you're playing defence, I've played in games like that. I'm sure many of you are. When you're playing in defence like that and you're having a good game, that's all fine and well. But eventually, they're going to breach you. Luke Shaw was brilliant today, but ultimately, he's made a mistake. But it's constant pressure. It's constant pressure. And that's what's happened. In relation to top four, do I think we'll get top four? Yes. I mean, if you're looking for a bit of positivity, I do think we'll get top four because we've got, what we got? 5 games left. We need 9 points from 5 games. We've got Fulham at home. We've got Chelsea at home. We've got Wolves at home. They're the 9 points. But we've also got West Ham away and Bournemouth away. We need 3 wins from 5 games. And the teams that we're playing are Fulham at home, Wolves at home, Chelsea at home, West Ham away and Bournemouth away. Even if we fuck up at home in one of them, I'd expect us to win one of the away games. So, yeah, we need to kick up the arse again. We must need an operation on our arse because it's been kicked more times than a bloody door. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous how many times we have to bounce back. But there's some players in that team I feel sorry for. Look, in relation to the top 4 race, technically Brighton can still get top 4 themselves. They've got 6 games left, which is 18 points and 73 points. But Brighton have got to play Arsenal and Man City. They ain't going to do it. And if they do get 73 points, they bloody deserve it. Liverpool can get 71 points, but they've got to play Villa. I think we'll get top 4. I do, but we're making it intriguing, aren't we? And the reality is we should have got a point today, but the attack has let us down. Vanke, welcome to the Members Club. And why do we never get big wins? We have a lot of attacking talent, but seem to never, ever go in hiding. Because they don't pass, club. Let's do the player ratings now. But I said this in the watch-along, and I think it deserves to be in the match reaction. I said this in the watch-along, right? And I want somebody to tell me that I'm wrong about this. The cold, harsh truth is that why are people talking about Harry Kane or Victor Osimhen and they're going to score 30 goals? Where are the chances? Martial had 1 chance today and he created it himself. Where are the chances for the number 9 over the last 3 years? Ronaldo used to go mad about it. Cavani used to go mad about it. Rashford goes mad about it when he's up front. Martial goes mad about it. Where are these chances that Harry Kane is going to score? We do not create enough chances in the final third. The fullbacks don't get forward and put crosses in. The wingers don't put crosses in. We don't create the chances for Harry Kane or Osimhen to score. We need to change the whole blueprint of that team because everybody's too bloody selfish. Rashford and Anthony are too interested in having a shot most of the time than actually keeping the possession. There's a real problem in the final third with United, and there has been for years. And Ten Hag needs to solve it. We'll never become a competent possession team until we start using and being more patient with the ball in the final third. It's simple. Eriksen isn't energetic to play away from home, and energetic Fred can't build up the play. That's why we need De Jong, sadly, says Barima. But that still doesn't solve the problem of why Rashford and Anthony don't pass enough. Bournemouth away is 100% a banana skin. We could lose that, says Tim. We need 3 wins from 5. Players like Rashford and Anthony are being too selfish. We should be focused on better ball movement. I agree, Alex. We saw it in the first half and then they fell away in the second half. Fred, 100% has to be sold in the summer. He's useless, doesn't offer anything. We are playing with 10 men from the kickoff. I agree with Fred starting, if I'm being honest. Anyway, let's do the player ratings. Fan forum will be interesting, of course. But I would go mad at anyone that's going to give David De Gea any shit today. There was one pass out from the 6-yard box where we were a little bit under pressure, but Casemiro cleared it. I thought he made 2 big saves. He's got to be a 6.5. Well done. I completely agree. I don't think De Gea did anything wrong today. Same with Wan-Bissaka, 6.5 for me. I thought Matoma had the better of him in the first 10 minutes, but he came back brilliantly. I think Matoma against Wan-Bissaka in both games have been a pleasure to watch. Fantastic player, Matoma, and Wan-Bissaka really gave him a good game as well. So, yeah, did really well. Same with Lindelof, 6.5. Didn't really put a foot wrong, apart from that bad pass that Matoma nearly scored from in the first few minutes. Won loads of headers. Lindelof's been brilliant for us. Again, he's not a player that shouldn't have his head high tonight. I thought the back four all did a job today, and I think Lindelof did as well. Luke Shaw for me is a 7.5, and his star. I mean, I hate the flip-flop nature of football because he was brilliant today, absolutely brilliant. Reading the game, winning the tackles, organising, physical, leadership, absolutely flawless performance. Apart from a cross comes in and his hand goes in the air. I don't know why. And ultimately it's cost us the game. But I ain't blaming Luke Shaw. And I ain't not going to give him... I tweeted it during the second half. He'd already, for me, won man of the match about 70 minutes in. It was a perfect performance by Luke Shaw up until the flailing arm that gives the handball. And the sad thing is, I don't think that penalty happens if the referee does his job. It's never a foul that he gets booked for. And that puts us under that pressure that leads to the penalty. But look, I thought Luke Shaw was good today, and I think it's really harsh and really flip-flop to give him a 6.4 just because he gave a penalty away. We're better than that. We're better than that as a community, 100%. You know, it's not his fault that we've conceded a goal late on, because the attack should be doing more to alleviate the pressure. And actually, we never looked like scoring in the second half. It was just defence against attack. And I thought Luke Shaw was really good. Delot would be a 6.5 for me. Again, I think Delot is just really, really, really targeted in this fan base. And I don't really understand why. I'd rather he played at left back than Malacia. I think he does a good job there. I don't think he did anything massively wrong tonight. I'd like to see the fullbacks get forward, but probably never going to happen against Brighton, if I'm honest. Casemiro today, I think it was a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde performance. There was some really good tackles, there was some really good passes, but there was also some bits that just left me really, really nervous. I'd probably just give him a standard 6. Fred's 5.5 for me. I think the problem with Fred is that, and I understand why people have given him a 5. I understood why we picked him, because Eriksen's not energetic enough. And this is why we need to buy somebody. You can't play Eriksen away from home at the Etihad or the Emirates or Brighton, because we'll just get dominated. But then you put Fred in there and he gets dominated as well, because he just can't pass. He can't pass. He can't see a pass. His touch is bad. You know, he's quite good at pressing. He's quite good in the tackle. But then, you know, he's so limited in the build-up. It hurts you in that way. And second half, he was dreadful anyway. It was terrible second half. We've been doing so well under Ten Hag that we forget how bad we are, says Lunga. Cash in on Rashford. As much as I love him, you've got to agree that he's very inconsistent, says Sakin. Why doesn't Erik Ten Hag kill the selfishness of our forwards? Rashford and Anthony have been selfish in front of post all season, and this is on the coach, says Mr. Incredible. Luke Shaw, the problem is we don't score. That happened a lot of times this season. It comes down to the chance at the end, but the game is different if we score the chances we make. He's absolutely spot on, Sam. He's absolutely spot on. The blame should not be put on Luke Shaw. It should be put on a redundant attack, a blunt attack. I think because we lack squad depth, some of the players lack the motivation to perform, says John. Well, Rashford never gets subbed. Anthony gets subbed. Martial gets subbed. Rashford never gets subbed. That was the only thing I would say against Ten Hag. He never subs Rashford. And, you know, you might be onto something there. If Rashford knows he's never going to get subbed because he might score a goal, does that not make Rashford more complacent and greedy? I never get subbed because I'm the guy who can score a goal out of nothing. Would that not make him be more selfish to try and score a goal out of nothing? Just a thought. Bruno 6 today. Started off well but fell off massively in the second half, as the attack did. You know, he was more defending than attacking, wasn't he? Anthony, 5.5 for me. Lots of aggression. Could have got a red. Don't think it was, but could have got a red. Petulant in the second half, had to be subbed because of it, and then we suffered down that side because Sancho isn't as good as Anthony at the moment on the right-hand side. First half, greedy. So, I like Anthony, but we've got to be finding the pass. The attack cost us a result today. It's harsh, but it's true. Rashford, 5 for me today. I think that's probably one of the worst games I've seen from Rashford this season. Massive fan of his. Really important player. I will be giving him a new contract, but I don't know why he's not working on the pass. And maybe Ten Hag has to take some blame here, because really, if you're not going to sub him because you think he might get you something out of nothing, are you not encouraging him to try and get something out of nothing? I think we're in a vicious cycle with Rashford. Ten Hag never subs him because he might score that goal. And then Rashford knows he's not getting subbed because he might score that goal. So when Rashford picks it up in an attacking position, he's going to try and score that goal and he's not going to pass. There's a problem here. I think Rashford is more than capable of becoming a creative winger as well. But we're not nurturing that. We're just actually developing this constant shoot, be selfish, try and score something out of nothing, which is basically what Solskjaer lived off. We've got to become a better team in the final third. And we're not. We're not. And I actually felt, I can't remember what game it was. We played a game for about half an hour when Rashford was injured. And I think it was Sancho, Martial and Anthony as the front three. And we played some really tidy stuff. I think it was Sevilla. Was it Sevilla at home in the first half, 2-0 up? And then Varane got injured, Maguire came on, it all fell apart. And I thought actually we played some quite good stuff. Bad result, but at least I got my ticket for New York match. Hope to see you there, Mark, says J. Dot. Thank you, pal. Hope you're doing well. Apparently for the first time in their history, Brighton beat us home and away, says Fabian. Well, as I say, it's a massive result for Brighton. They're treating it like they've won something. So we're still a big scalp. Martial's a 5.5 for me. I don't think it was as bad as some people think, but I'd have kept him on instead of Weghorst, let's put it that way. Sabitzer, I give him a 6. I actually thought he came on and did better than Fred, which I gave 5.5 to. But they, it still didn't make us any better as an attacking side. Sancho, 5.5, offered nothing. There was one point where he received the ball and gave it away. I just don't remember anything from Sancho. And Weghorst for me has to be a 5, same as Rashford. It was, it's just like playing with 10 men. He's got loads of effort. He's got, he tries, but it was like going down to 10 men. Ten Hag, tonight, I'm going to give Ten Hag, you've got to give him a low score because we've lost and the team was crap in the second half. So you're looking at your manager to change it. But then I'm like, you bring Sancho on for Anthony, you get worse. You bring Weghorst on for Martial, you get worse. He keeps Rashford on. He's always going to keep Rashford on. I don't know what subs he could have made, if I'm being fair. But you've got to try something because, we're just hanging on there at the end, trying to get the clean sheet off a good defence. 5.5. It's difficult because I like Ten Hag and I feel it's a bit unfair to say he got it wrong because I don't know what he can do. Like, loads of people say Martial played bad, but you can't sub Martial for Weghorst because it gets worse. Loads of people say Anthony played bad, but you bring Sancho on, it gets worse. I agree, Rashford should come off, but who do you take him off for? He's got so little options up front. It amazes me that we have fans out there that think the Glazers and Sir Jim are going to improve this situation. We need massive change at that football club. Massive change at that football club. Mark, I think because we lack squad depth, some of the players lack the motivation to perform their best. We've done that. And are you worried about not qualifying for the Champions League? Maybe Brighton or Liverpool will sneak in. Not when you look at their fixtures, Nick. Not when you look at ours. Look, Liverpool could get top 4. Brighton could get top 4. But if we win 3 out of our next 5, we'll get top 4. And we've got Fulham at home, Wolves at home, Chelsea at home, and then we've got Bournemouth and West Ham away. We should be winning 3 of those easily. But, you never know with this team. You never know. Hi, Mark. What do you think about Pellistri? Should he have been given a chance? He's always on the bench, says Architect. Well, we need Garnacho back. Say what you like about Garnacho, but he's been consistent. And, the sooner he's back, the better. I don't think West Ham's going to be easy on Saturday, on Sunday. I think that becomes a massive game now. I'd give Pellistri a go, Andy. I would give him a go, yeah. But I don't know. Ten Hag seems opposed to doing it. But that becomes a massive game against them now, doesn't it? Because, you know... Look, I think it's a concern, and it certainly makes it interesting about top four. But I don't. I think we will get top four. I do. I tell you what, I feel it makes me want to throw up that we might not get top four, because it would be a complete and utter bottle job. There's no guarantee that there's no other way of looking at it. We need 9 points to get top four. We need 72 to guarantee it. You know what, though? Can I just say, we say we need 9 points from the next 5. If Liverpool beat Villa, I actually think we probably need 5 points from the next 5. So, you know, that's worst case scenario. We need to win 3 from our next 5 if Liverpool win everything. Eric's still my king, seeing lots of people starting to turn on him. Ivan, look, a little bit of perspective. Anyone notices Paul Ince constantly clearing throat? Sure, from man of the match, crazy handball, sign Casido, says Daniel. Liverpool won't drop points. Brighton are done. The fixtures are too difficult. They still got City, Newcastle and Arsenal. We need to win soon, says 5 Cantonars. If Ronaldo was still at United, does he help or hurt in a game like today, says Devon? Well, he's better than Weghorst. This is why Kane over Osman. He can create chances for himself instead of relying on wing play. Can also play through selfish wingers. Yeah, I've seen Harry Kane creating chances for himself all season, mate. Yeah, he's like R9. You know, he's like the Brazilian R9, isn't he? Kane picks it up on the halfway and acceleration, drives past 4 or 5 players. Yeah, that's Harry Kane. You're absolutely spot on. Who was your man of the match? Thank God sense prevailed, because he definitely was man of the match, regardless of the handball. The people who let us down is the attack, and it wasn't Luke Shaw. But look, a little bit of perspective here. I think it's really important to have some perspective. We've got a massive game on Sunday. We know this team's still got massive problems. I mean, God, if you're waking up from a last-minute penalty loss and going, we've got problems. Where have you been last year? Where have you been all year? We know we've got problems. That away record is horrific. The job now is to get over the line into top 4 and somehow produce a miracle against Man City in an FA Cup final. That's what we need to do. The defence was very, very good again today. I thought Shaw and Lindelof were superb. The attack, an absolute disgrace again. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. To be honest, if we're being really, really blunt this season, can I just say something just before we go to the fan forum? If we're being really blunt this season and you want to assess something, tell me this is wrong. We talk about mentality, and we talk about a mentality problem in that team. When you look at it over a 38 game season or a 50 game season or however many games we've played, tell me I'm wrong. The mentality issue is not the defence. It's the attack. Look at Liverpool. Look at Man City. Look at Brentford. Look at today. Look at Newcastle. Look at Spurs last week. Look at Sevilla. Where do these games fall down? It's not normally the defence. It's normally the defence being overrun. It's the midfield and the attack that seem to lose their way. And specifically, it's the attack. The attack seems to lose the way so that there is nothing other than constant pressure. Because we can't hold the ball up in the final third. We can't create chances in the final third. We can't alleviate the pressure on our defence. Second half today, it was just Brighton constantly attacking, with us doing sod all in the final third. So if you're looking at the mentality, I think the mentality problem is in the attack. It is unable to figure out a way to be part of the team and alleviate the pressure on the defence. That's my view. Anyway, let's have a look what they've got to say on the fan forum. Make sure you smash a like on the video, and let's see what happens on the fan forum. I'm sure they've got a lot to say as well.